Not quite machine and not quite a monster, the Zodar are a classic creature from Spelljammer and evidently are making a comeback in Spelljammer 5th edition. GameMasters here, and the Zodar were nasty back in the day in terms of just being pure strength tank. While we only have been given a hint as to what they will be like in 5th edition, I want to take a look at how it started way back in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons and speculate a little on how it will be used in the 5th edition version that will be released in August. These guys stand a bit over 6 foot tall and look like massive obsidian suits of plate armor. And I kind of wonder if they were inspired in part from the Daleks from Doctor Who. The armor is actually their exoskeleton housing pure muscle within. These guys don't talk, save for about maybe 3 times in their entire expanse of their lives. The inner parts of their armor are stuffed full of muscle fibers, providing to them a whopping 25 strength, which is interesting because back in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons days, monster stat blocks didn't provide that information. In fact, if you take a look here, stats like strength, dexterity, wisdom, charisma, and whatnot, they're simply not listed. These guys can leap 50 feet straight up, weigh about 500 pounds, and in combat, while they will rarely punch anything with their strong arms, they will typically grab an opponent and simply just crush them. Occasionally, they will use melee weapons, but that's kind of rare. They are impervious to magic, even when someone or something casts a beneficial spell at them, and generally only physical blows appear to do any obvious damage to them. They don't really defend themselves, they won't block, they'll just simply attack. And another interesting note about their stat block is that they have an armor class of -8. Now, keep in mind, back in the 1980s, armor class worked a little bit different. So -8 today would be, something like a 22? As such, you won't be causing this thing too much harm. 3 times in its life, it can cause any one spell to occur as if it cast it. Once in its lifetime, a Zodar can cast a powerful wish. And I'd like to ask that if you're enjoying this video, tap that like button. While the Zodar probably wouldn't, I'm hoping that you will. The Zodar can be found in almost every part of wild space. However, they will generally avoid large crowds and prefer to avoid drawing attention to themselves, which, come on, let's be honest. If you were 6 foot tall in pitch dark armor, just kind of walking around and not talking, yeah, you'd probably be drawing a lot of attention to yourself as well. They are generally solitary and typically will not work side by side another of their kind. These guys are chaotic neutral and could potentially be talked into joining the player's party, but when one of these Zodar does perform a significant action, it will almost always be a major surprise to those around it. For example, the Zodar may just very well grab a Spelljammer ship's mast, destroying the ship in the process, just to use that mast as a massive harpoon. And it's also just as likely to just stand there and watch the party die without helping the fight at all. Many have felt the exoskeleton of the Zodar would be armor beyond anything else out there. However, rare to find is the empty suit. As to obtain one, you'd need to kill the Zodar, and by the time you've done that, the exoskeleton itself would have been reduced to just simple fragments. Now, while I can speculate as to what the 5th edition counterpart will be like, I'd love to know your predictions about it in the comments below. And in a future video, I'm certainly going to dive deep into the 5th edition stat block for the Zodar. In fact, if you would like to keep tabs on what will happen, go ahead and hit that subscribe button too. And check out this big playlist for Spelljammer 5th edition. It's only going to grow as I make more videos. Spelljammer has been one of my favorite settings for Dungeons & Dragons, and I hope you guys will join me on that ride as we explore wild space. Until next our paths cross, may your spelljamming helm not be a life jammer.